Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition to ECR's Race Hub. I am Joshua Sheets, and here is your host, Anthony Thishner and Todd Gilley.
In the house. Glad to be here.
What's going on?
Well, we got a bunch of friends here on the hub with us this week. In addition to myself, Anthony, and Josh, we have GM of my team, Earl James, and Ed Adams, also from Team Gilly. Who else is in here with us, Anthony?
Like you said, we got Earl James and Ed Adams.
Thank you, thank you, everybody.
Tyler Pluff from the console series and Braden Ames from the console series, who has joined us recently in the iRacing series. He left console to join iRacing on to bigger and better things. Not to down console, but that's the facts. He left console on the bigger and better things. So we got a lot of guys in the booth tonight. I'm counting 7 of us. A lot of guys be able to talk, give topics, feedback, man. It's going to be a great night. Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
So, with that said, Sheets, man, where is our first topic going to lead us into?
Our first topic, guys, it's been a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks off, so why don't we just get right into it? It's been a while since we talked about this console series. I've been hearing a lot about this console series, and let's see where this goes.
Well, the console series just finished up Michigan Sunday night. As you guys know, Sunday night, Michigan, console races Sunday night. iRacing, we race trucks Tuesday, race Xfinity cars on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday night is the Cup Series. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we got it going on. And we got 2 guys here who I brought in tonight who can give us a lot of information on console. It was Braden Ames and Tyler Pluff. One thing I want to bring in, I'm here with Tyler Pluff right now. He won the race Sunday night at Michigan in the console series, and I heard that it was a very good race. Now, here's the thing. They had a small field. It was like 9 guys in that race. Now, I don't think that changed how it was, as far as how the racing went, but Tyler Pluff has 5 wins. 5 wins. I'm looking at the wins now. I know Corey, he's got 6 wins. Tyler Pluff's got 5 wins. Moapa Mike has 5 wins. Moapa Mike was actually Braden Ames right here with us now. He had 5 wins. He left, so nobody's going to break that. Never going to get his 6. He joined us on iRacing. So we got Tyler Pluff here with 5 wins, ended up winning at Michigan. Tyler, what's the secret to console racing, man? And how did that race go? Explain it to us.
Console, like you said, it's a small group of guys. We got about 8 to 10 consistently show up every week. It's a lot of fun. Kind of a good way on Sunday night to unwind on the weekend, get ready for a long week of work. But I'm actually I live about a mile away from or an hour away from MIS out here, so had to defend the home track, if you will. There was a lot of good long green flag runs, and then racing got a little dicey there at the end and brought out a few late race cautions. I had to hold off a couple of my Penske teammates, and then it just ended up hanging on for the win within a few tenths of a second from each other. So it was a good time.
Now, you're teammates with Corey, correct?
Yeah, he's the team owner. He drives the 2 car. Unlike iRacing, we have to base it on the Monster Energy Cup cars. So he drives the 22 car, and then we have another teammate in the 2 car, and then we bring in the 21 of Blaney from the Wood Brothers in, as he is a Penske driver. So
Tyler,
together, you guys have 10 wins out of 23 races. I'm sorry, cutting you off there. My bad.
I'm sorry, Anthony. I had a question for Tyler real quick.
Go ahead.
yeah, absolutely.
Console, first of all, what console are you guys competing on? You got Xbox Series or are you PlayStation?
We're on the PS4.
The PS4.
Yes.
So on the PS4, what kind of mix have you seen
Sheets, can you do push to talk? We're constantly hearing that baby in the background. I don't know if you can make it push to talk. Yeah, it is. It's open. I'll move us back, but just know that we've been hearing it for like about 5 minutes now.
So I ended up investing in a wheel. Those Black Friday deals were pretty good. So invested in a wheel and I actually ran a lot with Braden or Moapa Mike in the console series quite a bit. And we got faster, got more accustomed to the wheel, and times have only gotten better. But as far as the competition between the two, my team owner, Corey, he drives on a controller. We got a Spooby G. He drives on controller. So there's guys with multiple wins on controllers. So there's not an advantage or disadvantage, just a matter of what you can keep in control, really.
So it sounds like you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from iRacing, man. You got plans coming over here?
That's the plan for 2018. Anyways, I've invested in a year membership with iRacing now. So once my obligations are done here in 2017 on the console, I'm considering the jump over to the at least the Monday night truck series, trying to get a ride there for ECR iRacing.
Back to you, Anthony.
Well, that was some good news, man. We always look forward to guys making the move over.
Yeah.
Love it. I always try to get our console guys to make the move because I'm going to tell you what, if you run on console with the wheel, it's a known fact that you are going to have some success in the league on iRacing, because if you're good at a wheel on console, you'll be even that much better on iRacing. I told Nick Olson that from day one. Never had a win on console, ever. Came over to iRacing. He got a win in his first year. And he hasn't won since, but he got to win. Point proven. But, guys, it's a totally different atmosphere when you start to incorporate tire wear, track temperature buildup, rubber buildup. Like, everything is totally different when it comes from console to iRacing. There's a lot more incorporated into it. So I look forward to you guys coming on to iRacing. That's part of the ECR advancement, man. Is start at console and work your way up. You said you were going to start in the truck series. That's awesome. Come over, start in the trucks. Don't be scared of Cup, though, man. If you get that A license by February, go ahead and run Cup. I mean, why not?
72
it's not
hours.
hard.
I'm a testament. 72 hours from a C class to an A class so I could run Cup. So it can be done.
There it is.
Within my first week, I was able to get myself to a A license, and he's already at a D license, so he's not too far from at least being eligible for trucks.
Yeah, I'm only in my like 5th or 6th race and already up to a high D right now. So we're getting close, but nothing to take away from console. It's a great group of guys. Fun running every single weekend with them, and tough to sort of give that up, but looking for a little bit more simulation style, not arcade. But also excited for the new console game to come out. See a lot of improvements there.
Well, Tyler, you guys got 10 wins out of 23 races in your team, and your team has been dominating. You guys have had 23 races. That includes Michigan. I don't know if you know this, but it's 10 out of 23 races that you guys have won. What's the secret recipe?
We just practice. We've practiced a lot in a different league, because there are other leagues outside of ACR. Corey and I were competitors, and I didn't start the season with ECR. He said he had an open ride and offered me a ride, and together we've just kind of taken off. Those 10 wins don't include my All-Star race win, so also won that one. So,
man.
But yeah, it's good. Just stockpiling the ECR bucks, and maybe one day I can own a team on console and keep my roots down there.
Tell you what, between Corey and myself, we own the top 6 spots in the Owners Championship. So, like, There's two teams battling right now, and I know how it is, man. I got 3 guys in the top 6. He's got 3 guys in the top 4.
Yep.
So, like, it's a battle. There's not a lot of guys showing up, but there's still competition. Guys are winning all the time, and I know it's fun, man. But do you see a future in console? Even though you're moving on to iRacing, do you think that there's a future for ECR in console?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a great group of guys that are pretty loyal to the console. Don't really think that they're interested in moving up to iRacing. One thing that I kind of noticed is the if you don't own a team and the owners aren't putting it out there that they have rides available in order to, if you will, get a team, you have to take out a loan. Some people might view that as intimidating, but Corey runs a tight ship. He only reaches out to the top of the heap as far as drivers are concerned, and it comes out in racing every single week. We're driving under a blanket 3-4 wide at Michigan, and like I said, it's a 100-lap race, and we probably had a 70-lap green flag run. So that's pretty darn good.
Man, that is awesome. I seen the Spoopy G got the pole. You actually qualified 5th. You guys had 1/10 of a second between 1st and 5th. So a lot of competition, obviously. What did it take to win that race at Michigan?
To win that race, it was a little bit of luck, not going to lie to you. It was a really, really good restart. Actually, with the green-white checkered, we had a late race caution. Green-white checkered, it was a good restart, and it just held the line. In the console, if you set your car up correctly, you can sort of rig it up to where you can run wide open. So if you get a good restart, unless someone gets a really good draft and on your inside, you should be able to hold them off. And luckily, I was able to do that.
Okay, cool. That's awesome, man. Good to hear. A lot of competition, as you guys heard over at the console series. If you guys are interested in joining ECR console, hit up them guys, or hit up me, man. Either way, hit us up. Got console series going on, a PlayStation 4. Same thing as iRacing as far as the rules and the funds involved. I mean, there's no league like us right now. They got fund system, point system. Everything is just like NASCAR, as close as can be. Um, Full seasons. We're doing 36 races in Cup, and these guys, you like you said, are using the real teams in NASCAR. So if you're a NASCAR fan and you love the actual team strategy, console's the way to go. I mean, you get to own Hendricks. If you're a Stewart Haas fan, you could own Stewart Haas. So those are cool things that you get to incorporate into the career mode. Versus online is basically what it is. And as he said here, Tyler Pluff, man, I mean, there's a lot of competition, a lot of things going on. There's a future. There's a game coming out, so there's new things coming out for 2018. Don't be scared. But hey, we appreciate you guys being part of the show. Stick along, give your feedback on any opinion that comes up, man. Anybody here got any questions for him or anything referring to console before we move on to the truck series?
I would really like to say too that also those 5 wins came in the middle of the season, or close towards the middle of the season. He started late and was able to get up in there, and I'm really looking forward to see how he performs in the ECR iRacing part of the league.
Yeah, man, if you're looking for a team, there's always guys looking for team drivers next season. Keep your ears open. Don't take the first bite. I always tell guys when they join iRacing, when you join the league, man, you get that first orientation in. You're going to get offers. You need to do your homework and make the best decision for you. Look at the teammates. Look at who's all racing. Is the owner in it to win it? Is he there every week? These are things you need to look at when you're signing that contract, because it just in like real life, man, you have to abide by that contract. Otherwise, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get out of that contract. So a little bit different than real life, or sorry, other leagues on iRacing, where it's just, oh man, let's show up, race for points. We have teams, we have contracts, payouts, all that, fines, DNFs, EOLs, probation, suspensions, all that stuff, man. So it makes us a lot different. Moving on. I know that Josh Sheets is having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, he'll be back here soon. So we are moving on to the Truck Series, and I have here Truck Series. Man, we're going to talk about the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, because we didn't have ECR Race Hub last week, so we kind of want to get both of these races down. It's not hard. Last 2 weeks, the winner was Justin Michael, dominating at Michigan and Bristol. Michigan brought us 4 cautions, while Bristol brought us 10 cautions, guys. A lot of cautions, 14 cautions in 2 weeks. We averaged 7. Very, very competitive racing, but Justin Michael ended up winning both. What did you guys who were there? What did you guys think about the racing that happened this week?
Well, Michigan, this is, Earl James. I'm a points driver in the ECR Pit Stop Science Truck Series, and Michigan was an exciting race. Those trucks on a fixed setup running at Michigan, everybody's kind of running close together, and there's not a lot of room for error. And at a track like Michigan, it's like that anyway. It's so fast, and if you step out of line, you can get swallowed up by everyone. That was a very exciting race. So you can see 4 cautions. We had some green flag runs. Obviously, Justin Michael, he qualified on the pole. I actually qualified second, and there was just nothing any of us could do. Some people tried some pit strategy earlier in that race, but Justin Michael would always find his way back to the front.
I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, getting closer to chase time, that the aggression has kicked up a few notches.
Well, there are a lot of people. If you want to win a championship in this league, you do not have to win a race. Oh. Caleb Sheets proved that last year, and he won the Beeline Sim Series in 2016, and he didn't get his first win until a few weeks ago at Iowa. So you can accomplish that, but you want to go out there and prove that you can take that guy who's on top, and you want to beat him on the track and prove that you can contend for a championship. I know, because I'm one of those guys who's been putting in tons of practice just to go up there and try to knock a guy like that off, and there's a lot of guys running hard in this series. They're going to keep chipping away at it. The points in this series is extremely tight.
Yeah, they were both very entertaining races to broadcast. I broadcast them both with Scotty Brown. Obviously, Bristol has its issues. It's such a fast, small place, and we had a lot of cautions there. But the Michigan race in particular was very entertaining, and again, I think the thing that stands out the most for me is that guy just winning them. He just kills them. Justin Michael just knocks him dead in that series anymore.
Well, Todd, just as well as we do from broadcasting every Monday with Scotty Brown, that it's not always Justin Michael taking off at the beginning. And, there are guys trying strategy on him. There are guys that get him on restarts every once in a while. Even at Bristol, we had a lot of cautions, high number of cautions in the Bristol race, 11. But after the first run, he didn't find his way till the front until the last run. He was mired back in traffic a little bit. There was some 2-tire, no-tire stuff going on. He still managed to be the only driver to come home with a 0X that night. And he managed to make it back to the front for about the last 25 laps and win that race. So you see, he's got it figured out in a lot of different areas as far as the way he's approaching these races.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, the Bristol, it was really fun to watch him win Bristol. I mean, like you said, he was back in the field there, and a lot of times you lose track position at Bristol, you're going to have a tough time, man. You just might not even get back to the front. Fastest car or not, I don't care. But he did manage to pull that race out, and it showed it was a championship type run. You know what I mean?
You had to be really self-aware at Bristol and all of the series that raced there this week, especially with the split pit lanes. They would only accept 22 on the front stretch pit lane. Anybody else would be on that back. So I do believe we did not have any green flag pit stops during that race. It was all yellow, but you still had to be aware of your position at all times, going slow or railing around the top side of that joint. I love that race.
You can see the implications that this is having as well. Not only has Justin Michael managed to go out there and just prove he's the favorite for this championship, we have 7 winners in 14 races. And what's important about that is only 2 of them, other than Justin Michael, contenders in the point series. So every time that he's preventing people from coming in and locking themselves into the playoffs, these are people that could come up and steal a win from him. And we've had 7 winners in 14 races, and he's really, managing this thing. He's dictating the way these races play out and the season plays out.
Absolutely. When you get a guy who's that competitive and that dominant, I mean, you look at it, who's the guy you want to beat? Everybody comes in wanting to be that guy. So 7 wins in 14 races, and I mean, Justin Michael, 7 wins, 14 races. That's what we're talking about. 7 wins in 14 races.
50% of the time that you show up to watch the ECR Pit Stop Designs Truck Series, Justin Michael comes home with a victory.
We only have 6 other winners. Sorry, that's crazy.
I know he loves running the trucks because I race with Justin Michaels in a different series that I think actually they're running at Daytona tonight. He just loves being in the trucks, no doubt.
Yeah, it's one of them guys who's extremely skilled in the truck series, but has the skill to go up and compete in the upper series. It's like a Kyle Busch in the truck series. That's what I look at it like. A guy who can run Cup Series, but he's just down there dominating the trucks. Come on, move up, man. Come race with the big boys, I told him that. I said, man, come race with the big boys. We're in Cup Series. We're waiting, man. We need somebody like you. I think that some guys have just figured it out and have dominated that series for so long, and they join a league, and that's all they want to do is just run the Cup Series or Truck Series or Beeline Sim Series. You need to, if you have success in one series, finish that season, but go ahead and move up the next season, man. And we've seen it. Ronnie Norman dominated the Truck Series last year, won the championship, and he moved up to the Beeline Sim Series and only has 1 win this year. Barely made the chase. So you guys can see that like somebody could dominate one series, move up, and struggle to win. It can happen. It's that real. What are your guys' thoughts on all that?
I run all 3 series. I've got to be basically broke or bleeding, and sometimes I might be broke or bleeding and trying to race at the same time. But I run all 3 series, and I think its track time and seat time is invaluable, especially when the 3 series are running at the same track. You can't beat that. The strategies might not be the same, but what you learn from one to the next I wouldn't pass it up. If it's possible to do it, I'd say wholeheartedly run as much as you can.
I agree with that 100%. The more time at the wheel, the better you are. We were talking about this before the show started about how with scheduling and stuff, I don't get to drive as much as I used to. And man, you can really tell, you need more time in the seat. And one more thing I want to address about Justin Michael, and Anthony said about him driving multiple series. Justin Michael ran both races at Bristol this week, the truck and the Beeline Series. He won the truck race on Monday night. And Tuesday night, he ran the Beeline Series, and he had the fastest lap of anybody running in that race. Unfortunately, he crashed early on lap 18, as will happen at Bristol sometimes. But the guy had turned in the fastest lap of the whole event in Beeline as well. So he's got the speed.
Absolutely. And like Anthony said, some guys are more skilled to run another series, but I fall on different sides of that debate, and I enjoy running against him. It's almost a Eric Jones versus Daniel Suarez situation from last year. I want him to win all these races, and I have something to aim at right now. Makes competition good.
Well, we want guys to come in and race in the series for a championship that you're most comfortable in. And a lot of guys like to come in and start at the bottom, finish the season, work their way to the top. Some guys just like to say, hey, I'm better in the Cup Series. I love the Cup cars. I want to start in Cup. That's fine. We have no problem with any of that. Wherever everybody wants to go, man, that's where it is. So, guys, we're going to move on to the Chase bracket for the Truck Series. Before we move on to the Beeline Sim Series, I want to move and talk about a little bit about the Truck Series Chase, man. We've seen it here posted earlier today. Justin Michael, 7 wins, sitting here currently leading the Chase picture. Christian Snyder, our Beeline Sim Series, which is the Xfinity cars, he's a broadcaster for that series, but he runs for championship in the trucks. He's got 2 wins, sitting in second. Michael Leiby with 1 win, sitting in third. Doug Hess sitting in fourth with no wins. Jason O'Connor, no wins, sitting in 5th. Scott Hunzinger, no wins, sitting in 6th. George Price sitting in 7th with no wins, and Josh Sheets in 8th with no wins. Now, the top guys who are out of this, and this is not far behind, all these guys with the amount of races left, which is like, what, 3 or 4 left before the chase hits? Might even be more than that. Correct me if I'm wrong. How many races are left till the chase starts, guys? Anybody know offhand?
There are 2 races remaining.
2 races remaining, and we got Andrew Melvin, 12 points out. Earl James, 12 points out. Will Prue, 13 points out, and Mason Clark, 14 points out. So these are your top 12. 9 through 12 are all fighting to get into this chase, and Earl James, I mean, you're one of them.
Yeah, man, and as you can see on the graphic here, this does not include Bristol yet. And I'm looking at the points on the website. I actually calculated it at midnight on Monday because I'm in this playoff chase. Andrew Melvin and I are 12 points behind Josh Sheets after Bristol, tied with each other. 1 point behind us, Will Prue is right there, and then 1 point behind him is Mason Clark. That is 4 drivers within 2 points of each other, running for that last spot behind Josh Sheets.
I mean, these are all going to be exciting chases, but man, oh man, that truck thing is just boiling hot right now for those last couple spots, is it not?
And we've been working very hard over at Team Gilly, myself, trying to get in those playoffs. Had a rough start to the year. I was new to iRacing. We talked about transitioning from console. I wasn't with ECR on console, but I did this transition. We had a rough start, but looking to get in these playoffs now. We're hot on Josh Sheets' heels. The trucks will be going to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park next. Road racing.
Man, I hope I've got my technical issues cleared up before that, because that's one event I do not want to miss. Throwing the trucks around again. Hell yeah.
Man, trucks are fun. Go ahead, Brady.
I was going to say that the great thing about the road course racing is it gives the opportunity, too, for somebody that is just totally dominant at ovals and is very good at it. There may be somebody that's not quite as good as ovals and really has a knack for road racing, and it really gives a chance for other people to shine.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. There's this really nice group this year that came from console. I just made a complete leap over here, and I was one of them. And over on the console side, I was known as the AJ Allmendinger when it came to road courses. So I kind of get a warm and fuzzy feeling whenever I see a road course on the schedule.
Well, from my perspective, running for that championship, when a guy like Justin Michael dominates those ovals, you circle the tracks where you have opportunities, like Eldora and Canadian Tire has been circled on my schedule. I've run every ECR road course event this season in preparation for this. So, obviously a lot of other guys are going to be taking that strategy as well and see if you can't lock yourself into the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
With the long season that we have, and it doesn't matter what series you're in, we have long seasons, and you have to do that. You have to figure out where your strengths are, where you need to figure out, because all it takes is one win to get in and guarantee yourself into a chase, unless, of course, you get, in speaking Cup Series, you get 16 winners, and then you're just going to take more than one win, right? So a win could mean everything in the Truck Series, as they only take 8 drivers. So that's important to note. They only take 8 drivers in the Truck Series. So win means everything. And some guys just, they fall short. They get very close. It's all about points racing, really. It's still, even though there's that chase factor, it's still all about points racing and trying to get the best finishes you can every single week. But you want to highlight those races on the season as, hey, this is one that we really got to concentrate on. Tyler Pluff, I know you said you had something about the Truck Series race broadcast.
Yeah, I obviously being on console, I'm not participating in the races, but kind of following over my buddy Braden Eames over here. Just watching the Racing Network running that ECR Truck Series race. It's just my opinion, but that broadcast is second to none. They do a great job on Monday nights running that thing and providing every camera angle and commentary. It's really, really entertaining way to spend your Monday night.
I would have to real quick add to that too. Everybody that I have talked to that watch the races, and even my girlfriend who's watching it has just said that is such a great broadcast, and it just comes together so nice, and the interaction with the fans and how the race is broadcasted is just amazing.
And we agree. I absolutely get the most feedback from the Truck Series broadcast. Every week I'm told, you got to keep Scotty Brown. He's one of them guys you got to keep. You got to deserves more money, So we look to keep him in the series next year. But I will tell you this: there's a little sneak peek, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear first here on Race Hub. If we get him next year, he's going to be broadcasting for the Cup Series. So stay tuned, because Scotty B in that Broadcasting Network, we're going to try to get him signed for the whole year for the Cup Series. That's the plan. So he wants to do it. We want to make it happen. Prices are going to go up a little bit, obviously, because he's came a long way. We helped him from when he was just getting started, and now obviously he's came a long way, got a lot of subscriptions. We have ourselves helped him get a lot of subscriptions, and he's making a name for himself. So with that comes a little bit more of a price, and we want to make that happen. So if anybody out there is looking to sponsor a series, Cup Series, man, gonna have Broadcasting Network with that Scotty Brown. So you like his broadcast, we want to make it happen for the Cup Series next year, and if you want to make that happen, let us know, because we can make it happen, and that's one of the deals we want to try to finish off in this off season.
I just hope that Todd Gilly gets to stay in there with them, because the chemistry between the two is just great.
Absolutely. That is a great pairing.
What do you guys think? Have you guys watched the random races where I join these guys? I have a lot of fun with these guys, but I don't know if you've actually watched one of the races where I joined with them. I don't know if I mess up their chemistry, or if it's just like, because I feel at home, man. When I join Todd Gilly and Scotty Brown in the booth, I feel like we're just having a blast, man.
Man, you're like Clint Boyer, like crashing out. You just got like nothing else better to do but run up and jump in the booth.
I like to think about Anthony like DW. He joins the booth and it happens naturally, and you can tell because he's emulating his emotion for racing and how much he cares about the league. When he comes in and something happens on track, he gets excited, he raises his voice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every time Anthony gets in a booth, there's that level of excitability that he brings. I love when that happens, and it's something that people, I think, watching our broadcast expect to happen sometimes halfway through a race. Oh, look, there's Anthony. He's here now.
Well, before we move on to the Beeline series, I just want to thank everybody for saying such nice things about the broadcast, and I want to take 1 second to say how much I really enjoy doing them with Scotty Brown. Scotty Brown loves racing. He has a great sense for how racing's supposed to be, and he truly loves the ECRL. He's very familiar with the rules, and Scotty's a real great guy to work with. I wanted to say that before we move on, and thank you all for loving it up. But no, I was just going to say, I was just going to transition into, we were talking about road courses, and the Beeline series has been to 2 of them, and in the last 3 weeks. But we're going to talk about Mid Ohio next, I believe.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Mid Ohio, but I'd like to follow up with what you just said there, man. And we definitely appreciate you guys stepping up. I mean, it takes, when you guys join the booth, you're not getting paid. The broadcasters are getting paid, but we got guys who just join the booth to have fun, man, and that means more than anything. You guys just join the booth because you literally enjoy the racing, you enjoy the league, and it means a world of wonders to just see guys join the booth, have fun, and that, I think, is what makes these broadcasts so great. We're not expecting much, and then you guys give us this. You guys give us your full heart opinions on things, great feedback, great replays, and I enjoy it. And that's why when I say, man, I'm off Monday night, I want to join that broadcast, because you guys are awesome. And I think that, I love broadcasting with you guys. I don't have to work the cameras. Me and you just sit here and watch the race. It's some great racing to watch, right? So I enjoy it, man. I love it. I almost enjoy it. Like, I'd much rather be in the broadcast booth with you guys than actually out on the track. I'm serious, man. I have that much fun sitting back, watching the race with you guys. It is a great time. And, that's all I can say about that broadcasting thing is you have to have broadcasts.
Yeah, I love doing it. looking forward to us doing Cup next year, and I definitely will do. When Scotty Brown's on the air, man, if I'm not racing, I'm in with him.
And we are told to move forward here with the Beeline Sim series. If you guys haven't stayed tuned and seen the Beeline Sim series, man, we got a chase picture that is tightening up real good. We got 16 winners in 22 races, guys. 16 winners in 22 races. Wow. The competition is the most stiffest than any other series, just by a little bit. We got 15 winners in the Cup Series, and we'll get to that later. But right now, the Beeline Sim Series, which uses the Xfinity Series cars in NASCAR, 16 winners in 22 races for that Beeline Sim Series. Trevor Roppolo right now leading the chase with 3 wins, but he does need 3 more starts. So there's 3 to 4 more races before the chase starts, and he needs to get 3 starts. So in order for him to make the chase, he's going to need to make those 3 starts. Rob Haynes sitting in second with 2 wins. James Lehman, 2 wins. We all heard about James Lehman, one of them guys who starts on the pole every week and has a lot of bad luck, man. He's like the Kyle Busch of that series where, you know, he dominates, leads a lot of laps, and continues to find a way to lose a race. But managed to win 2 races. Well deserved to be in the chase. Going to be a lot of competition. Look forward to seeing how that works out. 4th place, Brad Bohr. 1 win. Got it going on, man. Just got his last win last week, and we'll talk about that at Bristol last week. Jonathan Boger sitting in 5th with 1 win. Ronnie Norman, last year's Truck Series champion, going to make the chase in 6th place with 1 win. Jeremy Morrison sitting 7th with 1 win, with Joshua Susi, league admin, sitting in 8th, 1 win. Luis Salmaso needs 2 more starts, and he will make this chase with the 1 win that he has. Caleb Sheets, last year's Beeline Sim Series championship. He has 1 win. Do you guys know Caleb Sheets is the one sitting in 10th right now? Didn't win a single race last year and ended up winning the championship. So already has a win. Could possibly make it happen again, guys. 11th place, Matthew Hibbs with 1 win. And 12th place, that last spot, leading in points without a win, Matthew George. Guys, out of this list, I just want to say this. I know for a fact Joshua Susi, Caleb Sheets, and Matthew George came from console. All these guys came from console racing, came up here making it happen. So it can be done. A lot of competition. These guys are making it happen, man. What do you guys think is gonna take here to win this championship in this Beeline championship?
Well, I think amongst people in this playoff picture, they're all allowed to qualify. And I think that's going to be very important. These Beeline races are so tight. There are so many contenders coming to the table in the playoffs here. And you're going to have to show up to the racetrack that night, and you're going to have to make sure you execute on all levels. You want to get everything you need in practice. You want to know what your strategy is going to be. You got to outfox all these guys. It's going to be one of the tightest races we have.
Yeah, preparation. I agree. You got to make sure all those boxes are checked going into it. You got to know your fuel burns. You got to make sure that brake bias is good. So if you have to get on pit lane in a hurry, you're not going to loop it out and cost yourself a race on a mistake. You just got to be ready. And like Earl was saying, qualifying. Man, let me tell you what, when we're lined up 40 deep and you're a non-point series like I am for trucks and B-car, it's a daunting thing to look at that field ahead of you. So you don't want to be a points driver mired, mid-pack in the chase races. You've got to check those boxes and get yourself a good starting spot.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to have your stuff together here and beat these guys. One thing, Anthony, you asked about outlook for the rest of it. I think one of the biggest developments is going to be who gets in the last spot. And I think Ronnie Norman winning his way in at Mid-Ohio is going to be key, because now Ronnie Norman's in the chase, man. And I think he's going to be for real here.
Absolutely.
Well, both of these last 2 Beeline Sim races are good examples of how the battle's going to be. Mid-Ohio, Ronnie Norman and Rob Haynes had a spectacular battle at the end of that race. It came down to a few seconds. Ronnie Norman could not have made a single mistake on that last lap to let his chances at being locked in go. And then it was the Brad Bohr, Jonathan Boger show at Bristol last Tuesday.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Has anybody ever been in that position where you're on the outside looking in? Anybody here ever been on that position where they're on the outside looking in? Anybody?
Right now, Anthony, am on the outside
Earl
looking in
James
the truck series.
in the truck series. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, man. Beeline chase picture. We got Ralph Vandervorst, who is only 12 points behind. We got Ken Worley, 52 points behind. We got Todd Gilly, who needs a win, who's right here with us, man. You need to go out there and win it. And Jim Westerfield needs a win, but he also needs to make all the races left until the chase in order to make it in. So we got 4 guys who could possibly take this away from Matthew George. Matthew George may be knocked out. It's not over. We got races left in this thing. It's not over. We're sitting here talking about the chase picture, but we got races left. Ralph, Ken, Todd, Jim, any of these guys can make it in the chase. And that's the beautiful thing about racing, man. You never know who's next to win it. Todd could be out there. Maybe he's like 10th fastest, and all of a sudden a wreck happens up front. Top fucking 5, 6 guys get taken out. Todd's sitting there in the lead. He's going. Bam, gets past. He's sitting in third. We go out. Caution happens. Bam, he takes 2 tires. Now he's the leader with 3 to go. The other guys took 4 tires. We got to restart. Bam, Todd ends up winning it. You never, ever know what's going to – there's so many different things that can happen in racing, and that's why you never can guarantee a champion. I mean, you got to watch it down to the very last race because it's that exciting.
Well, there's an interesting dynamic there, Anthony. If you observe, there are only 2 truck races remaining. So those guys on the outside looking in, they're approaching races in a different way than this Beeline Sim series because Justin Michaels won a lot of races. There are still 5 available positions, but we can still get in on points. So a lot of guys might not be able to take the same risks. These Beeline guys, there are 11 out of 12 spots taken, and there's 4 races left. Do you think one of these guys in the next 4 races won't be able to pull something off? It's getting real desperate.
Yeah, maybe, man.
And that's the situation is a little bit different between the 2 series as the Beeline Sim series. These guys got to win if they want to make this chase.
Yeah, when I came in, I think I was 4th or 5th race in when I joined. I just wanted to run the rest of the year. We started getting down further into the year here coming up on the chase. And look, wow, all of a sudden I'm close enough to where it was not necessarily right there, but it was within striking distance for me to make the chase. And I started looking at it totally differently. Like I could actually make the chase, here. So, and now in my series in Beeline, like you were saying, you got to win to get in. It's not like I'm going to be able. I started setting my sights on, well, I'll just get enough points and I'll get in. And bam, 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 bam. There's been so many winners. I'm not going to be able to get in without winning. So it does change my outlook every week. And that was a bad toss.
No, that'll be something we got to keep an eye on. Those Beeline Sim guys, they got to take chances. People like me who are just 12 points behind Sheets in a 4-way tie, we can't afford to take too many risks. We have to take the best finish we possibly can in these next 2 races because the points are still within reach. We can't lose a race trying to go for a win.
Now, let me ask you guys, what's your opinion? So you got a driver like myself where I run for cut points, but I'm always there buzzing around in a truck in a B car, and when I'm out there, I'm conscious that I'm the low man on a totem pole, and I don't want to screw up somebody's points, being that, there's only a handful of us that are not qualifying for those races. But how does it feel if you are battling a guy and it might be between you and him for position, and yet there might be 2 or 3 non-point drivers between you and that driver?
I think going into races like that, a lot of times for those 2 hours of practice, you can feel out that situation. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but some guys, it doesn't matter to them. They go out there and try to win. I always try to just race the situation. You can see that some guys are going to take more chances than others, and you just got to know when to let people by sometimes and ride behind them and learn something. So that's how I approach it.
I approach it the same exact way as Earl James, man. I look at it as a relative. I don't care who's running for points. I don't care who is where first in points, last in points. All I look at is who's in front of me and who's behind me. I race that way. I don't care about championship drivers. I don't care about anything, man. When I'm racing and this is in my Cup Series race, I look at it like, man, relative. If the guy behind me is catching me and he's faster, when he gets to me, I'm going to stay out of his way. I'll try to let him go, and I'll try to put the pressure on him after. I'm not going to do anything special, try to block him or anything, because, he's faster. He's going to get around me. So I want to try to maintain my line, and if he's faster, he will get around me. And then if the guy in front of me, I'm faster than him, I'm going to do everything I can to try to get around him the quickest and safest way possible. So I don't look at, oh man, is this guy a championship driver? Is this guy not a championship driver? When we get out there and we're racing, guys, we're all racing. I don't look at it like, oh, this guy's a championship driver. This guy's not a championship driver. We're all out there racing for a win, right? So that's how I look at it. When I look at my relative, there's one guy in front of me and there's one guy behind me.
Absolutely. And you could tell more often than not, Anthony, I'm a little new to iRacing. So sometimes I'll come into a race and pit strategy, or just I'll pick up a few positions on a restart. I'll ask myself, I'm running fourth place. Am I fast enough to run in fourth place right now? And that'll dictate how hard I race those guys behind me. If I know that I'm more of a 10th place car and I manage to make it up to third, I'm giving lots of room. I'm running as hard as I can to catch that guy in front of me, but I never push the issue. Try to create further issues down the line. We don't think about the series at that point. We're thinking about racing.
And absolutely, man. I mean, that's one of the things you want to try to do to promote safe racing. You do a good job at it. Braden Ames, sorry, you're still here with us, man. What do? You came on to iRacing, got a big field. You're used to like 10 to 12 drivers per field. Now you're looking at like 30 drivers per field. So how has it changed for you coming over to iRacing?
Oh, it has changed so much for the reason of is when I saw any more than 12 drivers, I was scared that it was just going to be an absolute wreck fest on console. It just most of the time wasn't going to happen unless you were able to find those good guys. The transition from iRacing or transition to iRacing was great because you're with guys they'll give you some space. They're running their strategies. They're saving their tires, or you're really dealing with people that are thinking more than just drive in deep, brake, and turn left.
Yeah, Braden, you've been one of the good stories for the last few weeks since you've joined. You're the one running the Disney paint schemes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we see that on the broadcast.
The trade-off.
I remember asking you in a practice, when's the Aladdin scheme coming? And then I saw Lion King the other night. I asked about the Lion King, and I was happy to see that on the broadcast. That's an interesting thing to follow.
I've noticed, or at least I like to think that one of the key differences between console and iRacing, you're going to find your group of drivers that are just get along really well. And that's why I stayed on console for a long time. I hated to go away from that group of guys. But iRacing is more professional because you're more invested. You're more invested time, and you're more invested financially. So that driver on that racetrack next to you is taking that thing pretty damn serious. You know what I mean?
It's a commitment.
Exactly. There's a huge commitment to it.
And we have teams and owners and money on the line and playoffs on the line. The competition doesn't get any higher on iRacing than it does here.
Yeah, and you see a maturity level even between the series, between trucks, between B and Cup. You see a graduating maturity level in the way the drivers behave on the track. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And guys, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, coming from console and being a dominant guy, and then coming to iRacing and really seeing the level of competition and how people race and the feeling you get from it, it's just second to none. You can't find a better experience.
I told a buddy.
It's humbling.
Yeah, I told a buddy of mine who just came over from Xbox, got his computer built up, and he's on iRacing now. He's working his way up. One of the things I told him right away was pit stops, man. When you're on console, that's usually it's taken care of for you. You hit pit lane, and hey, man, the thing takes over. You're picking tires, you're doing this, you're doing that. But you come over here, you got to have your shit together.
I want the hell out going down pit lane here. You get hit.
I've won 2 championships on console in ECR, 2-time champion, and we went over to iRacing in 2014. And man, I ain't won a championship since. I've been very close. Got second a couple times. I remember even leading the whole season in points, and even all through the chase, we came down to Homestead. Boom, lost it. Had the opportunity to win it, but wrecked, lost it. So it's a different championship now. It's a different thing going on. You have to be consistent the whole year, all the way right down to the championship race. It takes so much more to win a championship now than it ever has, and I think that every series can now feel it. It's not just the Cup Series. It's Cup, the Beeline, and the Truck Series. I mean, every series now has the same championship competition. What it takes, the rules.
Yeah, you
Well,
talk about the level of talent that we have across the board here. I think it was at Michigan I made a comment after watching a broadcast that I don't think one driver made a mistake on pit lane that night. I might be mistaken if it was that race, but it was a recent one. Not one driver made a mistake. That speaks volumes for the level of talent that's out here in ECR on the tracks.
Well, speaking of Michigan, I have my producer screaming at me that he wants us to move on to that very place, and we want to start covering the Cup at Michigan.
Yes, sir.
So who wants to go first on thoughts of Michigan
Well,
series?
I was not at Michigan, so I really would like to hear some thoughts on Michigan. One thing that I did hear about was there was some great racing going on. I heard that a little few things here and there, maybe a little bit more cautions than we had expected, but for the most part, I thought that it was some great racing. And we all know when it came to Michigan, man, Chris Watkins had it won. Chris Watkins won that race. There was 8 different leaders with 11 different lead changes, and only 3 cautions in 100 laps for 12 laps. So I mean, a 100-lap race. There's probably a lot of great racing going on. I had my teammate Stephen Massey telling me, great race. He got second. Chris Watkins won it. Ronnie Norman got third. Jonathan Boger fourth, and Jerome Gustin fifth. Jerome Gustin's that guy who's been leading the drivers' points championship all year until lately here. But a lot of different guys in that, and 20 guys showed up, man. It was a good race. I heard Michigan was fun, man. If anybody was there, I'd like to hear your talk on it and how the strategy went.
Well, Ed, I think I should let Ed tell it from his perspective. Him and I actually tried to play some fuel strategy there. We had a long green flag run. It was an absolutely fun race.
Yeah, man, we would have been heroes if we pulled that thing off.
Yeah, Ed and I are teammates for we actually drive for Todd Gilly in the Cup Series, and Christopher Watkins is a teammate in the other series, and we're all sitting in a Discord channel together for that race. It was an absolutely, Michigan's really fast, and there's a lot of strategy ended up getting played out because of those green flag runs.
Yeah, I hear often on the broadcast, like last night's broadcast, they talk about, Earl, how you and I are often found on the racetrack close together. Usually that's kind of by design. We're talking to each other behind the scene. We're working on fuel strategy. We're doing equal fuel burns. Our talents really close together. We're both Army guys, retired Army guys, so the communication level was on point. And so we had a plan. Earl came. He was a mastermind. We caught each other on the racetrack, and we started forcing the pit stops early, midway through the race. And as soon as we hit pit lane, man, we made everybody else start to jump. And if it would have worked out, if that caution at the end never would have flew, we would have been battling for top 3, top 5 positions, both of us for sure.
Yeah, we were making up laps under green flag, and the way it was going to cycle out, by the time those guys had new tires, we had already hit pit road that one more time. If the last caution hadn't come out, I feel like we would have had enough track position from those new tires. They wouldn't have had enough time to come back to us. I think Chris Watkins still would have won that race. Chris Watkins is a madman.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
I do believe Ed Adams would have been second, and I might have been third or fourth.
Yeah, his strategy was that race. There was no doubt about it. You had to have a good working process of tires and fuel and what you were going to do.
And, speaking of that, in the Cup Series, it was Bristol this past week. Chris Watkins ran that race as well. and was leading with about 25 laps to go, and there was a caution in that race.
Mm-hmm. You know, 175 lap race. We had 4 leaders with 5 different lead changes and 5 cautions. One of the best races at Bristol all week long between the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. And we looked at it like, man, maybe there was only 19 drivers, but everybody gave respect to each other. It was a great race. I was a part of that race, and it was fun. It was one of them races where I felt like people were actually having fun. There wasn't much, arguing going on. Nobody was pissed off. It was a great race. A lot of green flag running, and then there would be that caution. We're like, damn it, a few more laps, I would have had a pit stop, And man, Jonathan Boger ends up winning the race, and he led 144 laps out of that race. But there was a point in that race where you were thinking, man, Jonathan's not going to win this race. Chris Watkins is in the lead, like he's going to end up winning it. He'd catch him on the long runs. There was long runs, there were short runs. You guys know, you were there. What was going through your guys' mind as this race was progressing?
I noticed my car, I was really, really good in the start of the run, especially in the middle and the bottom. I found that kind of early and stored that away for the end of the race. But you could run the tires off them pretty quick. I was super pleased to see how everybody was running hard every lap. You watch that replay, and everybody is just inches from the wall digging through that joint, man. It was awesome.
And Ed Adams, you ended up finishing 10th, 2 laps down. Only 4 incidents. You didn't have many incidents.
I was 5th, looking for a top 5 and maybe 4. I was working the 92 at the very end. When we got that caution, I seen the incident start to happen with Chris, and I was able to dive low and clear them. So I was sitting in a pretty good position there when that caution came out. And I knew of course, I gave myself a black flag going down the pit lane. So I had to start the back of the pack, back of the field. And I got up there, knew the car was going to be good on the bottom. And I was working the 92. And unfortunately, the 43 touched me. And the steering ratio I was running, I just couldn't save it after it swapped so many times. So I threw the top 5 away, unfortunately. But overall, man, I was pretty pumped. That was a fun race.
I was broadcasting that race, and I had just, right before Ed's crash, I had just cycled through the entire field looking at the front of every car. And at that time, Ed Adams had the only car that had an intact front clip. It didn't have a dinged up front end on it. It was the only car that was still straight up until the time you got wadded up.
Yeah, man, I was so if I would have walked out of there scratch free in the top 5, man, I would have been doing a dance in the living room, no doubt about it. But Bristol, it's dominating, but I think I excel personally at the tracks that kind of, I wouldn't say freak me out, but at the tracks that seem very dominant. Maybe it's got something to do with all that military training and stuff. But I look at it and I'm like, I got to tackle this, and you go with it with a mindset. And you know what? You just have fun. Take the challenge.
We try to bring a little humor into the hub. And I happen to know, and I hope you'll answer the question. Ed, what do you like to wear when you run Bristol? Like, what were you wearing?
All right. We need to give a little feedback on this one, okay? So,
field, guys, let's go through the field.
Go on, Anthony.
Ed Adams.
Real quick, what Todd was getting at there was I had a failure in the button box of my direct drive in the Beeline series, and I lost all buttons, all shifting. So the only way I could race last night was simply by shifting on the keyboard. Now, mind you, I'm in VR, so I can't see the world around me. So I've got no shifting. I know that once we go green, I can one-hand it, made the space bar my upshift, and the biggest key to the right of the keyboard, which was a 0, my downshift. So, man, when we took the greens, I would just bang, bang, get it to 4th gear, and then drive out. Well, the damn thing was going to slide all over the place. So to answer the question, red boxer briefs would be the answer, Todd.
Yeah, but we determined that keyboard will not stay on your lap if you have pants on. And so what do you got to do? You got to get them pants off.
That's
And
right.
Adams got rid of those pants and almost finished in the top 5.
Why not make the alt button your shift up? It's right there next to the space bar.
I'm blind as a Batman. I don't want him that close. Not with the VR on.
Okay, all right. I'm just like, I'm closing my eyes and feeling the space bar, and I'm like, all right, next key right after it is upshift, space is downshift. If I'm blind, I'm thinking, man, alt is the easiest one.
Yeah, no, man. When you're in VR, the direct drive is throwing you around, and you've got to do that shit in your lap. Yeah, no, I wanted the upshift and the downshift to be away from each other, but the good gentlemen over at Rickmo Tech are on it. They've got a replacement board on the way, so we'll be good to go for championship run.
Speaking of the championship, what's that chase ladder look like, Anthony Thitchner?
That chase looks like shit. No, I'm just kidding. Chase looks great. We actually posted it today, man. We had a whole post up today of the chase grid for the ECR Pit Stop Designs Cup Series. I posted it today in the driver's lounge. I think we posted it on the ECR Facebook page as well. But right now, it shows Massey leading the way. Massey's first right now with the most wins. Myself sitting in second with 2 wins. Bland with a win. Jerome Gustin, Thomas Lattimore, Chris Steele, and Ackerman. So those are your top 7. Everybody's got to win. Top 7 in points. Or not in points, but top 7 in the chase have a win. Now, the next guys, they don't have a win. They're just the top guys in points, and that's David Bordney, Russell, Scotty Brown, Mackey. Mackey's there. Stats, Joey Stats, Aaron Berge, and Ed Adams. Ed Adams is the last guy in the chase to make it. We got 2 open spots here, which are not going to be filled, unfortunately, because these guys are not going to get enough starts.
Yeah, I just barely made the cut.
So Ed Adams barely made the cut, but could make it, man. I'm gonna tell you what, I can only race every other race. So it works out that I'll be there at Darlington, and then I'm gonna be there at Kansas, and oh no, sorry, I'm gonna be there at Darlington and one of the other races there. Was it?
Yeah. I look at that list and I get excited. Because I know I'm going to be on a just about an even playing field for once. You come in halfway through the season and you talk about a damn mountain you got to climb. I can't wait for this chase to start.
There's some guys in this chase I see right now who probably aren't going to make it to the next round because they never show up. Chris Steele, for one, probably not going to put a start in. Aaron Berge, probably not going to put a start in. And you got guys who just get by. They just get by. And these are, and we're being honest, folks, these are guys who just get by with finishes. And we're looking at David Bordney, Frank Russell, Scotty Brown, Jordan Mackey, Joey Stats. These guys, man, they're fighting to make it to the Contender 12. So with that said, it may or may not happen for them. You never know, and it's going to be a fight. I'll tell you what, for myself, the Contender 12, you got Kansas, Charlotte, and Talladega. I'm only going to make one of those races, and that's Talladega. So I don't plan to make it to the top 8.
And you're under the gun, man. With your schedule, you got a whole level of stress. You gotta get a win.
Chase sucks, man. I'm there for Talladega only, and I have to win Talladega. I'm already looking at let's get to practicing, guys.
Well, if it comes down to Talladega, I promise you right now, I am not going to push you.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I look forward to not working with you.
I think the story of the Cup Series right now, it is one of the most exciting playoffs as well because of the amount of drivers they bring in. Yeah, we're missing 2 guys there at the end, but like you said, a lot of guys don't show up. So there's going to be a lot of guys here that because they put in the time and show up to all 10 chase races, they're going to have a lot of opportunities. I know David Bordney's there every week. Ed Adams is there every week. Obviously Stephen Massey, Anthony Thitchner, Thomas Lattimore, Bruce Ackerman, those guys are favorites, and they put in that work too. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities when it comes down to that round of 8 with these guys that show up every week, because all it takes is one guy getting caught up in an incident, and you're racing at Homestead.
Yeah, I think it's way too early to be making any type of predictions other than who we know is going to be in that class. Anything can happen in the chase. It's very exciting.
It all depends on who's hot and who's not, and that's
Todd,
the next topic.
Todd,
Yes, sir.
who is hot and who is not?
Two guys that are hot. I'll give you two guys that are hot right now. One, and I'm not that kind of guy, but one guy that's hot is obviously Chris Watkins on a tear. His average finishing cup is like 1.8 or something like that. And still on the hot list for me is Stephen Massey, because Stephen Massey, despite a bad finish at Bristol, came from the very back of the field at Michigan to finish second. So these are two guys that I think are hot right now.
And was also involved in an incident too, and still managed to come back from it.
That's what I mean. He flew into the grass sideways on the back straightaway and still finished in the top 5, man. It was awesome. It was a great performance on his part.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Steve is one of those guys when he's on the track. If you get a chance to get behind him, you're going to learn something. Keep your eyes open.
Even fall for who's hot, or does he fall for who's not?
Actually, Stephen Massey falls into both categories, because at Michigan he was hotter than a $2 pistol.
Listen, I talked to
Bristol. He got parked.
I talked to Stephen Massey after that Bristol race last night, and I think he would agree with me. He is in the not category right now. He's had a bad run of it lately, and in particular last night, he admitted he let himself get a little too hot.
Yeah.
He understands he's in a little bit of a slump right now, and he understands that he's got an uphill battle if he wants to win this championship. He's in the not category right now. But he's one of the favorites for the championship still.
I can speak on that a little bit. I'm the team owner, and Stephen Massey is one of my drivers. And as a team owner, when you're having a great race, or if you're not having a great race, the one thing you want to do is try to help your drivers. And we were doing good, man. 1, 2, 3. There was a time where 4 of us in top 5, and Stephen Massey was having some problems with the guy, and he said, "Man, he said it in the team race channel, and he's like, man, this guy's blocking me. He's doing this, he's doing that." I was so focused on my race, I didn't answer him. I was just so focused, I didn't get and think about the fact that, man, this guy's going to throw his race away because he's letting this guy get to him. And as a better team owner, which is one thing I learned this week, you need to handle your drivers. Sometimes your drivers are going to get hot-headed. It's Bristol. If I could go back now, I would have said, Steven, you're faster than him. You're going to get around him. Just be patient. Let him hit the wall. Fill his mirror up. Be patient. Hit your marks. Don't get into him, but let him hit the wall, man. He's going to hit the wall eventually. He's not going to be as fast, and there's going to be a time where you can get around him. Just be patient. And I didn't say that, and he ended up losing patience, and he got into him and got himself disqualified after making a threat. And then, so we did have a disqualify last week at Bristol. It was Wednesday night, and, it was one of my drivers. It happens, man. But, we're going to get with him. We're going to move forward. And that's the most important thing.
Well, I think it's two observations on that. One, it shows you that nobody is immune to the rules. It doesn't matter who you drive for. And the other thing is, and I really want to point this out, it's very important, that it shows you what a stand-up guy Stephen Massey is, because he went through that whole thing and did that like a man, and I'm really proud of it.
I think another thing that deserves to be brought up, Anthony Fitchner as an owner. That's 1, 2, 3 at Bristol for you guys. Congratulations. I'd put Haters Make Us Famous probably in the hot category right now.
I'm telling you, and I appreciate that, man. That's a big thing, is to know that the chase is coming. Our guys are ready. We know that if we're in the chase, not every race matters. And you kind of, like myself, have taken a backseat. We're in the chase, and maybe Tyler Pluff, you're still here. You're in the chase for the Console Series. Not every race is important. You're going to make the chase, so you kind of plan ahead for the chase. You start practicing these tracks. So when you get to some of these tracks that aren't in the chase, you barely get by. But when the chase starts, you're going to be hot and ready, like Todd Gillies' wife. Sorry, Todd. Just kidding.
Ouch.
Todd's divorced now, and it doesn't matter. But hey, man, we're moving on. Tyler, how you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, that's what afforded me the chance to take the chance at Michigan, get up front, late race caution, and you can take those chances when you have the luxury of securing your spot, as opposed to not being in. You kind of have to take it more conservative.
Yeah, man. I mean, when the chase starts up, it's all eyes on hand. You have to be on top of your game. You have to be ready. You have to give it 100%. You can't ever think at any moment, a part of the race, that, oh my God, my race is over. Might as well park it. You can't win races that way. Maybe you hit the wall. Maybe it's going to be a struggle. Maybe it's going to be a hard day, long day, but you have to keep your head up and you have to keep focused because the chase is the most important part of the season.
Not
When
to
it comes
mention
to
it's
Cup,
expensive to your team owners.
absolutely. And when it comes to Cup, this is only a third of the season, but it's the most important third of the season. There's 36 races, and these last 10 races are the most important. So you race all year long till it comes down to 10 weeks, about 2.5 months. You race all year from February all the way down to the last 2.5 months. And you're like, man, got 2.5 months to go. But you can't just maintain how you've been all year. You have to step it up. Everybody in the chase steps it up, and you guys will notice. The rookies here this year, you're going to notice. When the chase starts, competition is going to get stiff. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
because they definitely want to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, man. The racing is going to become, as soon as we start the chase, you are going, I've seen it every year since we've been on iRacing, since I've been doing console. It doesn't matter. When the chase starts, everything is on the line, and you're going to see more competition than you've ever seen.
Well, I think it's going to be a great chase going forward for the ECRL. I know that it is going to get hot as all get out here, especially in those series where it's so tight. Even these races leading up to the chase, guys are going to be battling for those last couple spots, and I think it's going to be really cool. Can we take a minute? I want each guy to take about, in 1 minute, can take about 15 seconds and throw a crying towel for the week.
Damn. Go. Can I be first?
Sure. Do the press.
Fuck it. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. Listen.
Just throw one.
I've talked some shit, all right? I love the competition here, but I like to push my guys to the limit. I like to push them to the limit. So, I'm going to throw the crying towel to Thomas Lattimore. Thomas, we love you. I love you, man. You're a teammate. Been a long teammate for a long time. You've been in the league since console. You move over to iRacing. You have a lot of competition. But, man, I want to throw the crying towel this week to Thomas, man. Thomas Lattimore done deleted me on Facebook. I took that personal. Man, this is my driver, man. This is my driver for Cup. We talk all the time. This motherfucker lives like half an hour down the road, man. He's not far from where I live. All talk, man, we can meet up at the same strip club if we wanted to, man. We talk about Platinums. If you heard the last broadcast, we were talking about meeting up at Platinums. Well, that's because Platinums is halfway between me and him. Well, we can meet up at the same strip club, start throwing our ones away, Thomas Lattimore is my driver in the Cup Series, man. I love him to death, but, man, I got to throw the crying towel to him because he deleted me on Facebook. He gave up middle of the season, started throwing DNFs. He had like fucking 5 or 6 DNFs in a row, man. He's like, if it ain't first, you're last. You can't have that mentality. But I will say, with the crying towel, if there was one driver who's turned it around, it also is Thomas Lattimore. So while I'm giving him the crying towel, I also want to say he turned it around, man. He came back. He won Watkins Glen. He finished top 5 every week since. So, sometimes you just got to push your guys. You got to go out and you got to talk to them. My crying towel for the week is Thomas Lattimore. Love you, man. Keep bringing the effort.
Well, Anthony gives his crying towel to Thomas Lattimore, and if he had you on Facebook still, you'd know that you gave him a crying towel on his birthday. Thank you. Earl James, crying towel.
Man, my crying towel has to go to, first of all, I want to say James Lehman is one of the contenders for the Beeline Sim Series champion. I think he's an amazing driver, and he's a great guy. My crying towel's going to James Lehman, though. I'm running about 7th place on lap 35 of this Pit Stop Designs Truck Series race. And on a restart, running the low line, kind of just to give him room. He comes flying down and pushes me off the track. He gets in my rear end, and I start sliding. And I luckily managed to save it. No caution came out. One came out soon after, I think. There was a lot of cautions in that race. But I got back in line, fell to the back, got some tires on the next pit stop, and just managed to keep my truck in one piece. The next night, I had the pleasure of broadcasting with Christian Snyder in the Beeline Sim Series. And he did not have a good night. He was overdriving the car a little bit, trying to get through the field. And he ended up actually, getting 2 EOLs and being DQ'd from that race. So my crying towel goes to James Lehman, man. It's good to see Bristol bite you back.
Earl James throwing some retribution, throwing some shade on
Well,
the
you know
05.
what? I think James Lehman's a great racer. I watched a lot of the broadcasts.
I do
He
too.
won a lot of races. I brought it up to him after the race, and he just told me, man, you checked up too much. And he didn't even try to miss me. He was very unapologetic, and I even was not that mad about it. I had a 2X, and I ended up finishing 5th place. I think he had an EOL at the end of that race as well. So crying towel goes to James Lehman, man. You let Bristol get under your skin, that's what happens.
Hey,
Bristol
man,
bites back.
that's what's so fun about is he hot or is he not? Who's got the crying towel? That was awesome. Braden, you're here, man. Who would you give the crying towel to?
I would give it to myself because I've been crying ever since I came from console being good to getting a reality check when I came to iRacing. When I got that second at Eldora, I thought there was hope for me. And I've been practicing and working as hard as I could, and man, it's just been a very, very humbling experience. So I'm going to give that crying towel to myself. I'm going to wipe my tears, and I hope to throw it away one day.
Awesome, man. Self-appointed crying towel. That's man up right there, buddy. Tyler Pluff, you want to throw one?
Yeah, I guess I might have to take after my boy Braden. If you can't rag on yourself, who can you rag on? So I guess I'll the crying towel at myself. I splurged, got a computer, got iRacing, watched the Yeah Broadcasting Network. Pit Stops Designs Truck Series race, and league owner Anthony Thitchner says no more rookies this year. So I shed a little tear, but no worries. It's just delaying 1 year to get some experience and get in. So I'm crying a little bit on the inside, but we're gonna get to work. Hopefully, ready for 2018.
Oh, can't blame you, man. I'd be crying too if that was me. And now, the number 46, Ed Adams. Where's it going, Ed?
Well, I want to change it up a little bit. Instead of doing a crying towel, I want to hand out a handshake. And this is why. In that truck race, Bristol, I got myself in a situation where I was, as my spotter would put it, you're the meat in the sandwich. And I was pretty vocal on my stream with Mason Clark and how he dove low underneath me, and I called him an asshole. that asshole 60 put me 3 wide, and he stepped up after, and I put my information out about after it because I received an EOL, so the crying towel is a little bit on myself because I put up a fuss about that EOL. But he stepped up and he sent out a personal message directly to myself within 24 hours, apologizing for putting his truck, my truck, and the 41, which the 41 ultimately got spun off a netcode from my truck. He stepped up and he apologized directly to me, and I thought that was fantastic. So instead of the crying towel, I'm going to throw out the handshake to the number 60 Mason Clark this week for stepping up and doing the right thing. And I think that's huge with the drivers that we have in this league. You run with each other week after week after week. If you want to be a top driver, a contender, that's what it takes. So you have to be able to communicate with these guys.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
I'm getting asshole took me 3 wide on some t-shirts.
Is that everybody?
There's only one
Go through
left.
everyone.
There's only one left. and
I
it's-
want to hear from Josh Sheets. I
Yes,
really do.
Yes, who, everybody? Now, I'm not going to throw out a crying towel because none of these idiots deserve the crying towel, okay? I'm going to give a trash talking to the Truck Series and the Beeline Series just for the race at Bristol alone. How many cautions do we have for both of them races, Anthony, again?
Too many.
Too many. That is correct. I was hoping you'd give the exact number so I could say it doesn't
I
matter.
think it was 33 combined.
It doesn't matter, Todd. Shut up. There's too many cautions. Way too many. People were driving like they were a bunch of rookies. Hello, my name is Rookie, blah, 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 nonsense. We shouldn't be racing like that. We are the top of the line. This crap is unacceptable. I'm tore up right now. I'm so stinking mad, man. Wah! All right.
Woosah, man. Woosah.
Woosah, rub my ears.
22, by the way, 22 cautions between the two series in the last two races. Is that crazy?
We are the top league in
Just to let you know, Sheets, you're not playing through on YouTube.
Yeah, your voice is low.
Oh well.
Stick the mic in your mouth.
I'm gonna go ahead and give the second crying towel to Josh Sheets, who's not very good at talking trash.
I want to give the third crying towel to Josh Sheets as well, because like he's not very good at broadcasting things, and we're trying to stay live. We're trying to talk. This motherfucker just done lost us, man. I mean, we're not even live no more. So what's the point of talking?
He is getting the crying towel for sure. For sure.
I don't even know what they're talking about because I just heard. Actually, we are live. I just heard Susie come in and talk shit. I'm sitting here listening. Susie just came and talking. We're still live, man. He bullshitted.
Susie just threw a major lightning bolt in here. That happened.
Yeah, he's trying to bring us down, guys. Trying to bring us down.
He's like that voice, that conscious from above, you know. It's like,
yeah. See, everything's going great, and the guy comes, hey man, no, you're not doing this. You're not doing that.
Yeah,
I told you he's Chad Knaus. He came down, he keyed the radio and said, hey man, you're fucking up, and I see you.
And he like, never mind.
Oh, what? Don't say never mind now.
He needs to remember what happened to the last guy that busted into the booth when I was in the broadcast booth. What happened to him?
Uh-oh.
That ain't gonna happen to Josh Susie. I'm just kidding. Just so you know, somebody burst into the broadcast booth on me and Scotty Brown one time. He don't race with us no more.
damn, what were you guys doing up in the booth?
He had been in an incident on the track and decided to come to the broadcast booth and air his views. And that's not cool. You can't do that.
Oh, right in the open air during the middle of the race.
Middle, man. Just jumped right in. Just came right in, and it was like, turn him off.
Speaking of which, we need to give a high five to last night's RC. Is it Brant Morrow? He had a couple. He had some situations that he handled very well, considering he was thrown on the spot last second. So great job to Mr. Morrow on handling a very tense situation that could have really blown up, but he got it shut down rather quickly.
Okay. He did at that. But again, the producer talked to me, and he says, we want to talk about where are we going next on these three ECRL series?
Well,
where are we going to be next? Who's going to do what?
Where we're going next is none of your goddamn concern, Todd. I mean, where we're going next is where we're going next. I mean, what does it matter, right? Am I not right? Oh, no. I'm sorry. We are off for the Cup Series next week, which is a great thing, and then we'll return to the Darlington Raceway for the Throwback Series. We're going to have a lot of guys that week throwing back paint schemes. A lot of throwback paint schemes. Going to be fun in the Cup Series 2 weeks from now. It's going to be great. Next week, we have Road America for 45 laps, followed by Darlington. Darlington's going to be the Beeline Sim Series along with Cup, so it's going to be great, man. But the Truck Series, hey, off next week, August 21st. I'm showing we're off. We come back to Canadian Tire, and then we're off again. And then we go to Chicago. After Chicago, the chase starts. We only got 2 races left in the Truck Series before the chase starts, guys. I got a question for you guys. Looking at the points, man, just go ahead and everybody pull up the points for the Truck Series. Anybody here?
Very aware.
Anybody here see any drivers here with no wins that could potentially get a win? I mean, you look at the top 15. There's drivers here who could get a win. Don't have
Mason
a win though.
is on a
We got
run. He's top
You
5.
guys realize we got 2 drivers in the top 15 in points who have wins? 2 drivers in the top 15 in points who have wins.
That is saying something.
It says a couple things. It says that Justin Michael has been dominant, taking 7 wins. And it also says how competitive this is, where these dudes race so damn hard that, they end up wrecking sometimes trying to beat each other. Bristol's a perfect example.
Absolutely, that truck battle is absolutely it's tough. There's a lot of guys there. Only 2 opportunities to get it.
Well, I want to look to my team's road racing resident, Ed Adams, to ask him what can we expect out of the B cars at Road America.
Oh, we want to suck dick and we want to try to get the best head that we. Oh, wrong guy.
Road America, it's a big track. I have no idea right now what the fuel burn is because I have not put a wheel with the B car there. I will here soon leading up to it, but it's a big track. So tire wear is going to be a must. You got really fast right-handers. You got really, really tight left-handers,
Margin?
uphill, downhill.
left-handers.
Yeah, man. I mean, so you got the makings of everything that is just going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of fantastic road racers in this series, and I think Road America is big enough that the fast guys are going to be pretty tight grouped. Yeah, I don't think tire wear is going to be that much of an issue, honestly.
Fun fact about that Beeline race, it's going to be full distance, the same as they run in real life.
Did we talk about how the Beeline Sim Series had 16 winners and 22 races, and the Cup Series had 15 winners and 24 races? There's a lot of competition, guys. We've already shared who can make it, who can't, and you can find that on our website at www.ecrleague.com. But I don't think people realize 22 to 24 races, and you have over half of those races in winners. That's competition, man. That is a lot of competition. I can't, I gotta say it again. That is a lot of fucking competition.
And no room for error if you're running for a championship in one of those series.
Yeah, none whatsoever. And this road race coming up, man, that's crucial. That's critical. Somebody can pull one right out of their ass in that joint.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the Beeline points right now, and to see Brad Borer at the top of the points, first in points, and realize that dude just won his way into the chase at Bristol. That is really something, man. 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s for the guy. He had to win his way in like 3 weeks before the chase started. That is amazing.
People are going to hate, but what I always tell my guys, and maybe this is, partial, but I always tell my guys, haters make us famous. Now, I don't know where I got that from. Maybe, it was a team I started, but haters make us famous. And I say that a lot. But it goes further than my team, man. I'm telling you. Because the people, listen, guys, the people who watch you win, they're not going to cheer you on. They're not going to say, oh, man, you're doing a great job. Keep going. They're going to hate on. The people who make you most famous and the people who talk about you the most are the haters. The people who like you and support you, they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to go out of their way to talk to you much as the haters will. So if you have haters, you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing, man. You got people talking about you, you're doing the right thing. That's what Dale Sr. said. Dale Sr., before he died, said, as long as I hear people talking about me, I know I'm doing the right thing. It's when they're quiet that you start to worry, right? So
let's move one last step before we close out the show tonight. And I'd like for each guy on the panel tonight to take a look at the Cup driver points and just off the top of your head, give me your pick, your favorite horse going into the chase as of right now.
to win it all?
All of it, all the marbles.
All the marbles. You know what? I'll take first, man. I'll take first. I think Stephen Massey. I think Stephen Massey wins it all, man. H Muff. I think H Muff. Haters make it famous. One of my drivers. I think he puts in enough effort to be the champion. And maybe Bruce Ackerman. If I had to guess a second person, Bruce Ackerman. But Thomas Lattimore, all my guys really put in an effort. Man, it's so hard to choose a champion, but if you had to, like one of them guys who came in, he was far behind in owners points. He ended up taking us to first in owners points and is now second, almost first in drivers points, So if I had to take one pick, and I'm not trying to take up all the time here, Stephen Massey, man, number one. If I'm going to put my money on somebody who's going to win this Chase championship, it's got to be Stephen Massey.
Great names.
I would have to agree with him, Stephen Massey, and if I had to pick a second one, it would be Thomas Lattimore. I mean, Stephen Massey is just fast week in and week out, and so is Thomas. It's just lately I think they've been getting caught up in some stuff they wish they didn't.
Earl James.
I like guys that are consistent and show up every week. And I'm looking at the points leader, Jerome Gustin. He's got all 23 starts. The only other person to start every race is Scotty Brown. I think Jerome Gustin, with all that consistency and all that work he's putting in, I think he's the guy.
Ed?
Well, taking myself out of the equation, I would have to look at that and say Gustin and Massey. I think if Massey can keep his head on straight during a race and not get rattled like we've seen happen at Bristol, he's a huge threat. Other than that, yeah, I want to see how the Eliminator 8 starts to shake out.
Josh Sheets' mic is down, I believe. Tyler, I want to put you on the spot. You want to take a look at the points and take a pick?
Yeah, I haven't really time to look at it, but I know the haters make us famous guys are pretty top notch. So I think it's going to be one of those guys from that team.
Awesome. I think that I'm going to put my pick on Thomas Lattimore. I think Thomas Lattimore is going to come on in the chase like we haven't seen him all year. And I think he's going to get a fire lit under him. And if that happens, he's going to be hard to beat.
Todd, I got to agree with you, man. He's lit a fire up under his ass. He knows when this chase starts, man, he's got to do what he's got to do to win these races. And this is something that's going to be interesting. You guys stay tuned. You guys got to stay tuned for these races because when the chase starts, it's going to get heated up. And I'm going to tell you what, man, I am more proud as an owner than I've ever been. I've seen guys come along, seen them come and go. But right now, Haters Make Us Famous is a strong, knit, tight group, man. And like you guys have said, a couple of you guys said you think some Haters Make Us Famous drivers are going to win the championship. As an owner, I love it, man. I fucking love it. It's like sitting back as Hendricks, like, which one of my guys are going to win, And quite honestly, I feel like we're the Hendricks, man. And that's a great feeling. It really is. So these guys are going to go out. They're going to give it their all. And there's so many competitors that can win a championship, man. They're not the only ones, obviously. 16 drivers have an opportunity. I think we got 14 drivers who made the chase so far. So, anything can happen at this point, man. And we're going to close it out. I just want to go by all of you guys once again and maybe give your last thoughts on anything that's on your mind. I don't care what it is, man. I just want to give last thoughts. Think about your last thoughts. What's on your mind? ECR related. I don't care what it is. Braden Ames, you're on the clock.
Yep, I would say that this has been probably the best experience I've ever had league-wise bound, but I would have to say that the only thing that I've not liked is the incentive of not running more than one series for the fact of that I'm not able to qualify if I'm not running for the points in that series.
And we looked to change that. We brought that up in today's admin meeting, so it's something that we're going to look at going forward to next season. Possibly could change guys who are fast. We want everybody to qualify. That's how NASCAR does it, right, Braden? I mean, NASCAR allows everybody to qualify.
Exactly.
So that's something that we're looking at. We want to fix. We want to make sure we're as close to NASCAR as possible. So something that may be changed going forward. Um, already looking at that, man. So it's good feedback. Great thing to bring up. Earl James, number 39. You got anything to add towards this?
Yeah, I think if I could add anything, it would be I want to point out the guys running in the truck series in that tight battle with me, Josh Sheets included. We're all chasing him. There's like a 4-way tie for that next spot that Josh Sheets has behind him. We're behind him in a 4-way tie to try to get that spot from him. And I want to say good luck, Andrew Melvin, Mason Clark, Will Prue, Josh Sheets. I don't plan on leaving anything out there. So I hope it's exciting these next few races. Good luck to you guys.
You guys heard it here first, man. Earl James has enjoyed being your teammates all year long. When it comes down to chase, you guys can take a dick. He don't care. You want to win a championship, you got to beat him. That's what it's all about, baby. Right?
If Sheets could use his mic right now, he'd tell you. If he was there at Bristol when I got into the top 5.
Listen, if Sheets didn't like Dick, he's turning his mic on right now. But we all know, man. So we all know. Look. Number 46, Ed Adams, man. What are your thoughts?
Brakes. Brakes are my thoughts. And this is why. We got 2 important road races coming up for a series where we got some guys trying to battle their way in. At Mid-Ohio, the guys were struggling, were having brake issues. They were locking it up all the time. If you are a driver in any of those series and you have a possibility to get in one of those events as your ticket, and you have a cheap set of brakes, pony up, man. Start selling body fluids if you need to. Get yourself at minimum a load cell. Get a good set of pedals because it will change your game when it comes to road racing. So that's my final thoughts. Brakes. Learn how to use them.
Final thoughts. Brakes. Learn how to use them. How do people learn how to use them, man? What are some tips? You didn't get really in depth on how to use brakes, man.
Yeah, can you tell us about the geography of the brake pedal?
Of the brakes, yeah. Tell us, man. Get some more in depth.
It's a coefficient between brake pressure over distance, and you want to have that pressure, not just that distance.
Is it more of the ocean of the motion?
Whew, man.
Motion of the ocean? Or is it the size that matters? Like, what's going on here?
Should I consult my physician before I use any brakes?
I think who you need to consult if you want good pedals is Beeline Sims, a sponsor of our Beeline
There
Sims
you
series.
go, man.
There you go.
Whatever you need.
Nice plug-in. Nice plug-in.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess we're going on to Josh Sheets. Josh Sheets, you don't have a copy? Josh, you there? Josh, hold on. Let me call him up. Hi, you've reached Josh Sheets answering machine. If you want to suck dick, leave a message. Oh, no, I'm good. Hang up. All right. Todd Gilly, number 64, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And my final thought is that you only have to win one race, I believe, in these stages in the chase to move to the next round. And we have had so many different winners in the Cup Series this year that is going to be a complete crapshoot to see who moves on. It's going to be winners moving on, and that's going to be a big thing to watch. These guys who could just get one, bang, they're in the next round. That's going to be key.
Absolutely, man. I mean, when it comes down to it and the chase has started, there's only 3 races. You get 3 races per each segment. So 3 races, bam, you're on to the next. I mean, that's all it takes to move on to the next. Obviously, every race is very important. Tyler Pluff, talking about console, man. Talking about console. What's it going to take for you to move on to Homestead?
Yeah, that was going to be my parting. Looking forward to the chase here in console. Like I said, we only have 8 to 10 guys, but someone gets hot, they can take all 3 and all 3 wins, and then you're left looking around to say, who's going to fill the rest of the spots? So it's going to take a week in, week out effort every Sunday night. I'm going to start broadcasting, so feel free to look me up on YouTube. I'll start broadcasting and try and get the ECR console out there a little bit more. But it's going to be tight. We got a couple of good cars: the 22, the 5, the 2. There's a lot of good cars up there. It's going to be some great competition.
You know what we need to do, Tyler, is you're part of the ECR Drivers Lounge, no, on Facebook?
I don't believe so.
Oh, come on now. We need to get you on there, man. ECR Drivers Lounge, get you on there. You need to go ahead and share the link, man. I'll get you added. I'm probably going to get you added here in the next 10 seconds. You need to go ahead and add yourself to the ECR Drivers Lounge because I'm going to tell you what. You get some followers, man. We like to watch racing, and I'm sure that some of these guys would like to see what it is that is making all you guys interested in the Cup console series. So you guys are doing a great job, and I hope that you guys continue to do a great job. And go ahead and advertise in our driver's lounge, man. I mean, nothing more we like to see on a Sunday night than to watch some of you guys racing, man. I mean, we love racing, so it might pay off, man.
Yeah, it's high speed. We're on NASCAR Heat Evolution, and then next year they'll be on. I think it's NASCAR Heat 2 on the PS4. So I believe Spooby G also broadcasts on there, so I'll include his link as well.
Hey man, send your friend request, send your link. Get it done, man. I also noticed you got a brown lab.
I have a chocolate and silver lab. Yes, sir.
Man, I love labs, man. I got a black lab. They are awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna get a black and a yellow and cycle.
Love that lab to death.
At the end of the day, man, you can't say that your races. You went for black and yellow, and maybe some people say you're a Steelers fan, black and yellow, but you know.
I was just gonna say, as a Pittsburgh guy, could there be any better colors?
No, we look forward to it, man. I enjoy listening to you guys. I enjoy sitting here every week. You guys ever want to be a part of a future ECR Hub Series broadcast, hit us up. Let us know. We want guys. I mean, we had 7 guys tonight, and I really enjoyed it, man. It was fun. I didn't feel like any of us are cutting over each other. I felt like we had a good time tonight, and we want to continue this. So anybody ever wants to be a part of it, let us know, man. Moving on to next week. Catch us out next week, probably on a Friday night. Look forward to Friday night. We're going to try to make this happen again.
Thanks for having me.
I want to thank everybody for coming.
Have a great
night.
This
was a lot of fun.
Appreciate everybody watching. Tune in on Mondays for our Truck Series broadcasts on the Broadcast Network. On Tuesdays, a Beeline Series broadcast on the ECRL Network. And on Wednesdays, a Cup Series runs on the Ford Entertainment Group Network. It's been a great show. Thanks to everybody for coming, everybody to watch, and all the input we got. And what does it say there? Oh, penis. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Great show.
We got a lot of guys here who talk shit about us. I don't give a fuck, man. We have fun, I don't care if it's a 2-hour show. I don't put a time limit on our shows. Well, how long is it going to be? I don't know. However long it lasts. But we sit here and we talk about the series. We talk about the shit that's going to happen, and we have fun doing it, man. I mean, 2 hours. That's what I say. We started at 9:50. It's 11:40, man. If we go on for another 9 minutes on a going out, covering the broadcast, hey, we're about to go out, and it takes another 10 minutes, I don't give a shit. We had fun doing it. Kirk Quist joined us in the broadcast booth. Kirk,
who you guys got for Bristol this week? Monster Energy Cup Series?
Man, I'm going to tell you what, man, it ain't Dale Jr.
That's damn for sure.
Guys, hey, that's a good question, man. Let's keep it going. Who do you guys think is going to win this week? Bristol, NASCAR. I don't think is going to win it, but I think there is a chance somebody else might.
I'll tell you who a console guy would take.
Going with that boy Kyle Busch.
Oof. I'm going to go with a fellow Michigander. I think the number 2 car, Brad Keselowski, takes it.
That takes balls driving Michigan or Bristol.
Brad's got balls.
Yeah, he does.
And it's sorry to get a little off topic, but sorry to see that he shut down his truck out. Sad.
Oh, that's on topic. We're talking about Brad.
Yep.
That is on topic. And I think it's one of the things that the truck series needs to open up their minds to, man, is like, look, you don't have a truck series without cup racers, man. I mean, nobody's going to tune in to truck broadcasts if you ain't got no cup drivers, man, people that we don't know. The reason that we know some of these drivers coming up is because we tune in to watch cup drivers. These cup drivers help the up and coming drivers. I think that it goes hand in hand. So if you go ahead and make it harder for cup drivers to own teams and race in the lower series, you're also going to hurt those drivers who are trying to up and come. It goes hand in hand.
I will say, I mean, I'm a pretty big race fan, and I will watch if it's on, regardless of who's racing. But I do think for the common fan, you're right. You need those cup guys in there. I think another thing they need to consider is maybe making it a little bit cheaper to run in the truck series, maybe dumbing down the cars, making them a little bit more affordable for smaller teams.
I think what you're seeing in racing in general, especially in NASCAR, is the seemingly endless tide of sponsorship dollars is beginning to go out. You're not going to see companies, they're not stepping up to pay 30, 40 million dollars to fund these teams anymore. These teams are going out and finding multiple sponsors to get through a year. Nobody's going to pony up 26, 31 million dollars anymore. And it's going to change the way racing is and the way you see it. I guarantee it. Dale Jr. pointed out how the driver salaries are going to go. These guys today, they're coming up, they're driving for nothing compared to what Dale Jr., Kyle Busch, those guys were making. These guys come up now, they don't make near that kind of money, man.
See, I think that's kind of a good thing. Guys are willing to race for the love of it, not for the money. But at the same time, you're seeing a lot of these kids come up because they have sponsor backing, or even look at a driver like Danica Patrick. She has no business being in the Cup Series, but she's a good marketing ploy. So that's the only reason she's there. It's unfortunate reality of big time stock car racing.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a good thing that these people who are only up there in those series because they can bring a $15 million sponsor in the door. Meanwhile, there's a better driver who can't get out of the sportsman car because these guys got all the seats hogged up. And it's not because they're great drivers. It's because they have 5 Hour Energy or Viagra to come and pony up the dollars.
And guys, we usually have a 2-hour show, so that leaves us 5 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last season. Maybe some of you guys are Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans. Maybe some of you guys are not Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans. But when it comes to this latest feud here in NASCAR, is Kevin Harvick's comments about Dale Earnhardt Jr. How do you guys feel about that? And how do you feel like Dale Earnhardt Jr. has handled the marketing side of NASCAR on his shoulders? But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to give you my opinion first. Is one, he didn't ask for this. He came into the sport. He got, he was driving for his father, and he handled it well. He won 2 Xfinity Series championships, with Busch Series championships. He handled it well. And then he came over in the Cup, and he was doing great. And then his father passed away, and I felt like that was it. That was what finished his career. But he has been in Hendricks for the last 10 years, only has 9 wins. That's horrible. I mean, as far as a person who is the most popular driver of Cup, with 9 wins in 10 years, that's pretty bad, man. But here's what Harvick said. Harvick made a comment, in case some of you don't know. Harvick made a comment that said, Junior is the reason why NASCAR is suffering. Junior is the reason why the stunt of growth of NASCAR has happened. We have a driver who is the most popular driver, but he's not the most successful. He's not successful. Actually, he doesn't win at all. He's, having a lot of struggles, and that has stunted the growth of NASCAR. Had we have a driver who is popular and who had wins, maybe let's say Jimmy Johnson was the most popular driver, winning championships, then NASCAR would have grown. But people don't like Jimmy for whatever reason. They like Dale Jr., and Dale Jr. has not had the success that was hoped for. So he's failed to meet his criteria. How do you guys How do you guys fall under that category? What do you guys think about that?
I agree with Harvick. I agree with Harvick in his statement simply because you now got, instead of sponsors or teams actually scouting talent, you might pass over the more talented driver for the more marketable driver, i.e., we'll call this the Patrick scenario. And I think that's really what he was getting at. So I agree with Harvick on this one.
I agree with Harvick, and I think it was kind of taken out of context because I don't think it was ill-mannered towards Junior or his character or anything like that. Just the way it happened, you know. It's unfortunate that people didn't really get behind Jimmy Johnson because he dominated in the way that Dale Earnhardt did in his time and the way that it made him popular. So it just didn't transfer over like that.
A lot like Tom Brady, though, Jimmy Johnson is starting to he's starting to add to his resume so much that he's starting to gain that popularity.
Earl, you started a shitstorm, dude. You
What's
just
happening?
compared Jimmy Johnson to Tom Brady, but I gotta take a stance with you, man. I'm a diehard Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, but I gotta say, Jimmy Johnson is the greatest of all time. And I gotta agree, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not a fucking Patriots fan. But I gotta agree that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. Then maybe you weren't saying that, but that's how it came out. And I think if you look at how racing has evolved and the competition that's involved, you gotta say, man, look, they did everything they could to stop Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
Jimmy Johnson's one of the greatest of all time. People can hate it or love it. That's how it is.
In 10, 20 years from now, people are going to look back on Jimmy Johnson and just be like, wow. When it happened, I mean, I'm a huge Gordon fan, so when he was edging him out every year, it was really pissed me off to watch it. But now when you look back at it, it's really remarkable.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. never won a title after Jeff Gordon won his first one. Jeff Gordon never won a title after Jimmy won his first one. I don't know.
And also, Dale Earnhardt Sr. never won driver, most popular driver of the year until he died. So that's one thing to keep in common is he had a lot of Earnhardt Sr. fans, but never won most popular driver until the year he died. He only raced one race that year, and he got most popular driver.
Yeah, and I don't hope people take this the wrong way, but I feel like Dale Earnhardt in a 21st century era with, social media and stuff like that, he would have a lot of haters just like Kyle Busch does.
Absolutely. I hate Kyle Busch, but I can sit here and tell you because I grew up in that era. I was born in 87, and I watched Dale Earnhardt race every year, every race. I watched those races, man, along with my pops. And I'll tell you what, man, Dale Earnhardt Sr. raced a lot like Kyle Busch. He wanted to win races. He did whatever he had to do to win races. A lot like Kyle Larson, too. Kyle Larson is a young gun. But I'll tell you what, man, I like Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson has the positive attitude that I think Kyle Busch doesn't have. So, they're both very consistent, very successful drivers, but I think Kyle Larson is a much more positive ego, positive attitude type of driver than Kyle Busch is. So both of them drivers, though, are both a lot like Earnhardt Sr., man. They'll do anything they can to get a win, and you want to see that. You want to see that in racing. You want to see roughing up, bumping passes, I mean, look, we've been going at this broadcast for 2 hours now. It's 2 hours, so we need to close it down. And told by our broadcasters here that we're over our time. So if we want to keep going, it's going to take money out of our pockets. We need to get it ended here now. So, guys, I want to go. Earl James, Ed Adams, Josh Sheets, Todd Gilly, Kurt Quist, Tyler Pluff. What is important here to say from this point on, man? Give us your last final thoughts. We're going to run through it, and we're going to end this show.
Everybody wanted Junior to be his dad. He's not his dad. And
Fuck you.
The other thing is, Richard Petty carried this sport for like 6 or 7 years through the late 70s, and he wasn't winning, or into the 80s, and he wasn't winning much either, but he was still like everybody's favorite. And those are the two things. I wouldn't take total issue with what Harvick said, but I that's what I want to say.
What I'll say to Junior fans is, as a Gordon fan, that, that last year wasn't exactly exciting to watch. Look forward to next year. I mean, you're going to have no driver, presumably, look forward to just watching the good competition. I haven't enjoyed watching racing as much as I have the past 2 years without Jeff racing, because I just watch it and I don't really have a stable in any of the drivers until one of those drivers, really takes my breath away, and I want to root for them every week.
I would say that Dale Jr., there might have been more success, with NASCAR had he been successful. Obviously, it's like that in most sports. But he didn't ask for that title. He didn't go out campaigning to be the most popular driver every single year. He did the best he could to fill those shoes that everybody got behind him, and he handled it very well. And he's still handling it very well in the face of criticism in his retirement year. So that just speaks to the kind of guy he is. He's trying very hard, and I think you can see there that the effort was there. It's unfortunate that it didn't come for him, but that's not something he should be responsible for ultimately.
And I think Harvick needs to look in the mirror a little bit, because he was the guy who replaced Dale Earnhardt essentially, and he had an opportunity to win over a lot of those fans, and I don't think he did.
Yeah, had Harvick been more successful in the mid to late 2000s, I think he might have been a more popular driver.
Nah, this thing
But Jimmy Johnson's a legacy killer. A lot of guys aren't what they could have been because of Jimmy Johnson.
I was just going to say that. Like, Harvick, it's all about timing. And Harvick came upon a point where, oh my God, Senior's gone. Who are we going to go for, And over half of NASCAR's fans went to Dale Jr. Over half, man. Over 50% of the fans that went to Dale Earnhardt Jr. But realistically, Jimmy Johnson was the best driver, and he won a championship, and then they changed it up, and he won another championship. They changed it up again. He won another championship. I mean, the motherfucker has proven over and over and over again that he can win a championship. It doesn't matter how you try to stop him. He's going to win a championship. And here's the thing about it is he handles it so awesome. Like, he is a champion's champion, man. You listen to him lose races, you talk to him, and it's like, man, he's humble. He is such a humble driver. And I compare Jimmy Johnson to Tom Brady, and I compare his crew chief, Chad Knaus, to Tom Brady's coach. All right?
Bill Belichick.
That's it. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. I mean, they're equal. This is the greatest team you will ever see in their respective sports. Does anybody here disagree?
No, I'm a Giants fan. I'm very comfortable with saying Tom Brady and the Patriots are one of the great franchises.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. These guys have had a lot of competition. They have gone on over and over and over, year over and again, to have success. And I think that's really what makes you a franchise. What makes you a dynasty is just taking over and winning those things. So it's very important to win, obviously, and it's very important to keep your family involved and keep the support involved, because it's going to take that to succeed. So, that's one of the most important things. Guys, we've been here. It's about to be 12 o'clock. We've been here for 2.5 hours, almost 2.5 hours. We try to keep it at 2 hours. I appreciate it. Everybody here involved, man. Earl James, Ed Adams, Josh Sheets, Todd Gilly, myself, Kurt Quist, Tyler Pluff, and one of the other guys that left.
Braden Ames.
Braden Ames, man. He done left us,
He had to go drive the school bus.
His mom told me he had to go to sleep, so it was past his bedtime, so it is what it is. But we enjoy everybody here at the ECR Hub. Hope that everybody comes back, man. We want as many people as we can to be a part of this. It's fun. Appreciate you guys listening. We gave our final word. Love you guys. I think next week, here's what I'm gonna do next week. I want to have a live telephone line. Here's what I'm gonna do. Next week, when we do this, which is gonna be Friday night. We do this Friday night next week. All right, 9 o'clock. Tune in, 9 o'clock Eastern. We are going to give a live telephone line. You can call in and ask your questions. and we are going to put you on air and get your questions on air and answer them. So if you're interested, tune in next week, Friday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Give you a telephone number to call in, ask your questions. Do it, man. We love it. We love all the fans. All you guys paying attention, man. Bring it on.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
That was an absolute blast, guys. Awesome.
One last final. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, kill him.
Asshole took me 3 wide.
Yeah.